just starting to believe these things, that there are no accidents, that we create our own reality, that we are all one. But sometimes they end up almost feeling like catchphrases. And I wondered if you could just take us through what's really meant behind those things I've just said.
When you say there are no accidents, what we would mean if we were discussing that is that everything comes in response to vibration. And so if you are offering a vibration, that manifestation that matches that vibration will be. And no one can do anything to you because no one can vibrate for you. Certainly you can be influenced to a perspective or a vibration, but ultimately you are the offer of your vibration and you have control about your vibration. So when someone says there are no accidents, they would accurately be meaning that whatever happens to anyone is a vibrational match to the offering.
So someone who's blindsided in a car accident
has been offering a vibration that matches that essence. In other words, they may have been talking about things not going well for them. They may have been feeling powerless. They may have been responding to an employer who doesn't seem to understand them, or to a mate who doesn't understand them. They may have been critical of traffic. They may be unhappy with enforcement or police control. They may be unhappy with people who speed. There are any number of things that they may have been focusing upon, but something active in their vibration is at the heart of everything that happens to everyone. We do not say nothing happens by accident. We use a different word. We say you are the creator of your own reality, and you may be creating intentionally, or you may be creating by default. And by default, we mean you're offering vibration all over the place, you just don't know you're doing it. And you're not paying attention to the way you feel, so you're making no effort to guide the way you feel or to guide your vibration. So you're just taking what's coming. So when you're looking at something not wanted and offering a vibration about it, something that matches it is being attracted into your experience in that moment.
How about this, we are all one? It can almost seem trite when you say it.
Well, physical humans have a very difficult time contemplating that. That's why it feels like a catchphrase, because they say it and don't mean it. You look at your individual bodies sitting in your chairs and you feel that you are individual clumps. And you do not realize that you are eternal consciousness that is always streaming. And so physical friends often, as they begin to contemplate non-physical, then assign a non-physical clump of energy to a physical clump of flesh, and they call it a soul. And they have pictures in their mind of the clump. It was a little bit what was in your earlier question when you said, have you ever been physical? As if this clump of non-physical energy now infused itself in this clump of physical flesh, and now I'm alive. When what's really happening is it's a stream of non-physical consciousness that is flowing endlessly into everything that you know is physical, even into this chair, into the cells of your body. Everything and everyone coming forth from this one stream of consciousness. It's unsettling to humans to contemplate that, because you see yourself as superior consciousness and you see yourself as thinkers, and we have to acknowledge that this stream of consciousness has many different perspectives, but it is all one stream.
In the workshops, you speak of humans being on the leading edge of thought. What exactly do you mean?
Your question follows perfectly, because that is just where we were going to take this stream of consciousness that is coming forward. You are on the leading edge of thought. Here you are in this contrasting experience which evokes from you new wanting. And that new wanting is the asking or the summoning of that which is us, or that which is source. So as you ask, source energy comes forth to fulfill that which you are asking for. No end to it. No end to the expansion of that which is source. In other words, when you realize that you are the physical extension of that which is source. And so here you are banging around out here, developing new desires, and source coming forth in response to those desires. See how it works?
I think I see what we get out of our interactions with you. People are able to ask you questions and get some answers. What's in it for you?
Well, even more than what's in it for us relative to these questions, we want you to understand that you, as humans, are the leading edge of that which we are. In other words, you summon us forth into the new place. Physical human often has a misunderstanding. He sees himself as inferior, and he sees Source or God as that which is complete and perfect. And now he's here banging around trying to catch up with that perfection, when it is so much the other way around. In other words, source energy is constantly expanding, and this time-space reality is the place of this expansion. And so by your willingness to experience and endure contrast, you develop the new desire which summons all that is forward into that new place. And if that is not what life is, there can be no other explanation for life, you see.
Is Earth a special place? I mean, you look up into the stars and you hear these numbers that there's billions of stars and there could be billions of planets around. Is there something special about where we happen to be?
It is a magnificent place. It is the manifestation of so much thought that has gone before. In other words, it was created from the idea before it even took physical form. It's a big question and a hard to hear answer, but there is thought, and then there is thought form, and then there is manifestation. The thing we most want you to hear about this magnificent time-space reality that you call Earth is it is continuing to expand. It is not finished. Those who inhabit it, even including the one-celled amoeba in the ocean, are having personal experiences where personal preferences are being born, and that preference is answered, so the continuation of life continues. This Earth is a living, breathing being, expanding and benefiting by those like you who inhabit it.
Are there other places similar to Earth?
Infinite. Too many to name or number.
Well, on that same kind of track, these days in particular, these days meaning I guess since the 60s, we hear things about, flying saucers, and there's crop circles and things that go bump in the night. What else is out there?
Everything you can imagine. And this is an expansive universe, and every thought that has ever been thought has set something into motion.
So by thinking that these things are out there, they are out there?
Sometimes you are picking up on what is there. Sometimes you are creating it even in your imagination. Steven Spielberg has added tremendously to this universe.
Through his imagination.
We want you to understand that in this universe there are vibrational frequencies. And while there are many other time-space realities, they are in a different vibrational frequency than that which you are. So you are not intertwining. In the same way that you understand that you are having conversation with Abraham, who is consciousness that is not focused here in your time-space reality, you have access to consciousness that is focused anywhere you can reach it vibrationally. In other words, universally, you help environments. As you thrive in one environment, and you know how to thrive, and you project your thought of thriving, others have access to that. There are many things that inventors discover in their mind that are projections of thoughts from other places, you see.
We've all got these things out there we want, whatever it is, health, money. We've all got our heart's desire that we want. Can you explain to me again how, in concrete, step by step, we can head towards these things that we want?
Well, when you think about it, every subject is really two subjects. What is wanted and lack of it, or absence of it. When you identify a desire, name something.
Money, more money.
So when you pick up the stick that has more money on one end of it, on the other end of it is not enough money. And you are vibrating somewhere along this stick. So if you've been having the experience of not enough money, you've been observing it, you've been talking about it, you've been worrying about it, and you are now, from your awareness of not having enough money, asking for more money, you are not a vibrational match to more money. You're a vibrational match to not enough money. And you can tell which end of the stick you are most a vibrational match to by the way you feel when you think about money. So when you think about money, if it makes you feel free and it makes you feel exhilarated and it makes you feel adventurous, then you're on the vibrational end of the stick that matches dollars flowing to you. That's why rich people get richer. They feel prosperous, they feel abundant, they feel well-being, and so they're not holding money away from them. And that's why people who don't have enough money so often don't allow more money into their experience. So the key to moving up the stick, so to speak, is to find a way to feel more prosperous, to stand where you are because you can't do anything other than that, but try to play down the not enough money while you play up how well things are going. We encourage someone who is in a place where they want more money to put $100 in their pocket and spend it mentally all day long. People say, well, if I had $100, I would feel more prosperous. And we say, then pretend that you have $100 in your pocket if you cannot find $100 to put in your pocket. But you must find the essence of feeling more prosperous before you open the door to prosperity. You can't buck the current. You can't feel poor and allow more money into your experience. You have to find a way to shift the way you feel. It's a mental thing.
So you're using words like pretend and imagine.
Or remember.
But I think so many people just roll their eyes when they hear that. That's what can I do with that? Pretend and imagine.
Try it and see what happens. Show yourself that with a little bit of effort, you can shift your vibration. And when you shift your vibration, you see, let's talk about this, the way we like to describe this, because we're trying to orient you into this awareness that you are a vibrational being. You are energy, first and foremost. You see yourself as flesh, blood, and bone, and action-oriented. So let's talk about these two concurrent paths that are flowing all the time. So you don't have enough money, so your logic tells you that, well, to get more money, I must find a way to earn more money. So I will find a way to get better employment, which means now I need more education, which means now I need time off from the employment that I already have in order to get the education. So I achieve some way of getting the education, and now I have to convince someone that my education is worth paying more money for, and now I have to apply for the job, and now I have to convince them that I am the best one of all those that they are looking over. And so then I get the job, and then I have to convince them that I'm really worth more than they are paying. And we say, oh, it is a very long, hard journey that you are upon. It is no wonder that so many are discouraged and rolling their eyes. We understand why they might do that. What we want them to understand is that the journey from despair over not enough money to a feeling of hopefulness that there might be more money is something that can be achieved with a willingness to try in a matter of minutes. And if you take the time to just leave behind your pessimism and cynicism and despair and find just a little flicker of hope, and you try to keep it alive just for a few seconds, 68 really is enough for the universe to get a fix on your new vibrational stance.
68 seconds?
68 seconds is all it takes to flicker from despair into hopefulness. Now you have shifted vibrationally enough that now evidence will begin to reveal itself to you. And so it doesn't take much. Roll your eyes if you want to, and we certainly understand why you would. But try just to feel a little more hopeful and maintain it for just a little bit of time, and then watch what begins to happen, because the slightest shifting in your vibrational stance yields huge benefits in terms of manifestation. The better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets, the better it gets.
So you're essentially just saying try it. Try imagining that you are not sick or whatever, imagining what it feels like to be in
And
health.
start with something easy. Don't take the issue that you've been beating yourself over the head with for the last 20 years and say, I'm going to test it on that. Start with something easy. Take some subject that you don't have huge resistance about and ponder it and contemplate it and imagine it and watch how quickly the universe will yield it to you.
Could you give me an example or two?
One day, Esther was allowing Abraham to speak with a woman on the telephone. And the woman was very resistant. We could not see her physical body, but we are certain she was rolling her eyes. She wasn't having any of it. She was in a very uncomfortable place on many subjects, and she could not hear what we were saying. So we said to her, choose 3 subjects and just contemplate them lightly, and then watch them show up in your life today. Well, she couldn't choose anything. She couldn't find anything. So we suggested, think about butterflies. Think about how they fly around. Think about how light they are in the air. Think about the different varieties and colors of them. And then we said, think about a subject like blue glass. Think about the varieties of blues and the clarities of glass. And think about the number of different things that could be made from the blue glass. She still wasn't having any of it. We said, think about a feather. Think about many feathers. Think about feathers on birds or feathers in hats. The consultation ended, and the woman went on her way. And Jerry and Esther were in La Jolla, California, and they went downtown for lunch. They parked the car, and when they got out of the car, Esther said, oh, this is a new shop. I have not been inside this shop. I must see what is in here. And before Jerry could find her, Esther had disappeared into this shop. Deep into the shop she went, and on the back wall of the shop, she found the most magnificent display of blue glass that she'd ever seen. Every color, every texture imaginable. Esther did not make the association between the blue glass that she was seeing and the stimulation of thought that we had offered earlier. And then she joined Jerry, and they had a lovely lunch. And then they went to their favorite place down by the cove, they call it, where the ocean meets the land. And as they approached the area, a flurry of butterflies surrounded them. So much so that for a moment they had to stop talking to keep from eating butterflies. And still, Esther is not making the association between what is happening and the conversation that we've all had earlier. And then a little boy, an Oriental boy, maybe 4 years old, is running toward Esther. Esther can see him. He is definitely coming to her as if he knows her. And as he gets close to her, he stops about 3 feet from her and holds a pigeon's feather for Esther. And at that moment, Esther remembered the conversation. Within 1 hour of activating within her vibration these 3 subjects, all of them had appeared in her experience. The universe is actively responding to your vibration in every moment. And when you deliberately or indeliberately activate something in your vibration, the universe will bring it to you. Knowing it, the fun of deliberately activating a vibration and then watching the universal response is the best that life can yield to you.
That seems almost like I'm testing something, which is, I guess, what you're saying.
It was what you asked.
Right, so do a little test.
We would encourage you, in other words, if you want to, we want you to show yourself your power. We want you to remember who you are. We want you to remember that you are the creator of your own experience and that life is supposed to be good and that there is nothing that you cannot be or do or have and that life is supposed to be fun. But you have to practice in order to show yourself that you can do it. We can show you that we can do it, but then all you have is a very powerful guru